As Woody Woodward was talking a few minutes ago about networking, uh, this is the great day for it. And you look at the picture of Michaell Huggins here. Here's a guy that knows how to network. He talks to everybody. He talks to everybody that comes close to him, and he carries that enthusiasm, that excitement. He has made himself better and better and better over the years. And he hasn't accepted the limits that society has placed on us. They've told us, well, you have to work hard, you have to go to school, you have to get a job, and it wasn't working for him. It didn't work for me. Does it work for you? Michaell said no. He shook off the limits. He rose to the next level, and here he is this morning to help us do the same thing. Michaell, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ron. Good morning, everyone. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. And we're still doing it. We're still here. We're being consistent. So great job, everybody. I got to share my screen here. I got something new. I've been taking some more John Maxwell classes, focusing on leadership stuff. And I want to make sure that we are putting the right amount of effort in the things we do. It's not necessarily how busy are we, it's what are we busy doing, right? What are we accomplishing? So now that we are into July, we are 6 months, halfway done. John Maxwell, I don't know if you guys have been introduced to this guy, but he's written over 70 books on leadership. He has been training on it. He's given over 10,000 talks on it over the last 40 years. And the guy's he's an expert. He knows exactly what he's talking about with leadership and with growth. So he wrote this book called The 15 Laws of Growth. And there's a few things that I thought were important today that we should quickly talk about. And I got to follow up at 9:30 today. So I'm excited. Got to get ready for that. Every day we're doing this, guys. It doesn't matter. Holidays, Christmas, New Year's, birthday. Every day. Depends on your goal and how bad you want it. So I'm glad you're here. All right, law of reflection. We're now in our third quarter. It's game time, baby. Third quarter. Law of reflection. So learning to pause allows growth to catch up with you. So here's what he means. Recently, Vanessa and I have gone over our calendars and we looked at what we were doing the last 30 days, last quarter, last 6 months, and now it's time to make adjustments. So we spent some time. Now here's the recommendation is at the end of the week, you spend an hour looking at and reflecting on your week. At the end of the month, you spend a couple hours reflecting on your month. At the half-year mark, today's a great day. A lot of people have the day off. Spend a couple hours and go back over your calendar, go back over your calendar app or your paper calendar, go back over your texts, go back over your emails, go back over your activity. What were you doing? Look at the calendar and reflect and see what was I doing? What do I need to continue? What do I need to cut out? Okay, so there are some experiences that happened to you in the last 6 months or last quarter, last week, things to reflect on that you might not have put as much value on because it happened quickly, but now that you reflect on it, you realize how valuable that thing was. If you don't reflect, you're going to miss those experiences of really what is the most valuable thing to you so that you can keep doing that these next 6 months. Are you at the halfway point with your goals? Your goal is to make 100,000, 250, $500,000, $1 million. Are you halfway there? So there's experiences that we need to reflect on and say, these are the things we're going to cut out. These are the things we're going to expand on, right? I had a little team meeting earlier, and we talked about if we're going to up our game, we want more money. That's what I'm saying, right? Up our game. We want more fun. We're going to have to spend more time. So we've been reflecting. We've been doing exactly what we're talking about here. So those experiences, if we're not conscious, if we're not aware, we're not paying attention, they fly by and we lose some value. So make sure all the value you're getting or all that's available to you is what you're getting. When you're reflecting, I want you to be asking the right questions, okay? I didn't know about this, but there's a way to ask questions. There's a way successful people ask questions, and there's a way frustrated people who have a lot of friction in their life ask questions. So how you ask the question determines how you see the answer, what answer you get. So what I mean by that is two different IMAs could be sitting there reflecting on their month, and one could be asking, what did I do right? And the other one could be asking, what did I do wrong? Just simply like that. That's a basic example. But now that's looking in the past, right? Here's the questions that Brian Tracy taught me. He said, what went well and what can I do better next time? What went well and what can I do better next time? When we ask those kinds of questions, what comes to mind are things that we have control over, things that, when you say, what can I do better next time? Instead of what did I screw up? Obviously, what you think of is going to empower you and make you feel better. Okay, so what went well, and what can I do better next time? Now let's talk about some questions to be asking ourselves while we're reflecting. Okay, take at least a half hour. I know I'm kind of throwing you on this on you, but doing it today will end early so you can do some reflection. Okay, this is an important thing. We've allocated an hour to be here. Well, we'll end 20 minutes early or so, and you can ask some of these questions and write down the answers or text them to yourself, right? Get a note going. What is my biggest asset? What is my biggest liability? What is my highest high and what is my lowest low? Reflecting, right? For 2018, we're halfway through. What is your biggest asset? What have you picked up along the way? What are you using? What's your biggest liability or distraction? What's costing you, right? Definition of liability, what's costing you? See what we can do to eliminate that. What's your highest high? Maybe we're talking about income. What's your best month? What's your lowest month? Well, and what do we need to change? Okay, here's a few more questions. Some things that are driving our actions are our emotions. So, what are your most worthwhile emotions? And what emotions are holding you back or creating problems for you? What is your best habit? What is your worst habit? Habitually, right? Aristotle said we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. It's just a habit. So, what are you repeatedly doing that's helping you, and what is your worst habit? Okay, a few more questions so that we can be thinking about this, reflecting, right? If the experts are saying we reflect, and you say, "Oh, I'm too busy to reflect," what do you think? What kind of results are you expecting with that kind of coachability, right? So make sure that who we're listening to, people producing results we want. John Maxwell's one. Okay, so he says reflect. It's time to reflect. What is most fulfilling to me? What is my most prized possession? And what do I not know about me yet? These are some powerful questions. So make sure we're reflecting. So remember, when we're thinking about this journey that we're on. We enrolled in a program. We made some commitments. We set some goals. We're on a journey. And not a lot of people are on the same journey. A lot of people are, they're not thinking through their life, their steps, their day, their actions. They're not thinking through them. They're just, they're referred to as sheeple, right? They're just going along with the system, not thinking about it. And so they have a different journey, and sometimes it seems easier to them. Like sometimes we're putting in way more hours than other people that have jobs because we're still developing things. Maybe we have gigantic goals. Maybe we neglected things that we have to catch up on. And so sometimes the journey seems a lot harder, and sometimes it's a little more lonely at times because some people just don't understand you. Right? You're misunderstood. You're an entrepreneur. You're misunderstood. So just remember, the journey's worth it while you're reflecting and you're thinking, was that worth it? Absolutely. That was worth it. Stay focused. There will be dividends. Okay? So looking internally and reflecting is a rare thing to do. There's two ways to get rich. Right? You can do what rich people do, or you cannot do what poor people do. Well, rich people reflect. Productive people reflect. Top producers reflect. So there's a lot of potential we haven't tapped into. This is the thing. Some of us thought we were busy or we were maxed out. We've done 120% for the last 6 months. And when we go and do our introspection, when we start looking, we're seeing, hey, there's some potential that's untapped. We could still do this. There's more to tap into if you look and see, what have I been spending my time on? Look in your calendars, look in your emails, look at those appointments, go through the notes, right? Maybe you've used 3 different journals throughout the year so far. Grab them all, look through them, right? Look at the Post-it notes you put all over your office. Look at the other reminders you've set. Look at the notes you've taken if you got notes apps and you're constantly taking notes. Go back over the last 6 months of notes you've gathered and reflect on this stuff and ask these questions. And remember, you've come this far, don't slow down. Keep going. Pedal to the metal, baby. We're on a straightaway. There's no curves here. We don't need to lift our foot off the gas at all. This is straightaway. Let's keep going. Speaking of straightaways and keeping going, the next thing to talk about, and this is what we'll end on, is the law of consistency. Consistency, motivation keeps you going, or gets you going. Discipline keeps you going. Okay? Winston Churchill said something to the effect of work ethic is doing the right thing even when the excitement of the moment has run out. Right? A lot of people at the beginning of the year, first 30 days, January, I'm going to do this, but by July, not many people are doing it. And that's because motivation gets you going, discipline keeps you going. And I had to learn this. I thought discipline meant the opposite of freedom, right? Today's Independence Day, we're talking about freedom. And get it straight in your brain. Text this to yourself, put it in your notes, make sure you know this. Discipline, right here, discipline is the beginning of freedom. Discipline is the beginning of freedom. For 28 years, I'm just barely getting this, guys. I thought discipline was the opposite of freedom. So I avoided lots of disciplines. I got the discipline in business. That's why I got the business. I got the money from it, from that discipline. But there are other areas I still thought discipline was the opposite of freedom. But now I'm getting it. It's the beginning of freedom. Because now that I'm disciplined with my income, with my work, I get a lot of money. When I'm disciplined with my emotions, I'm having a much more pleasant time throughout the day, 24 hours solid instead of up and down throughout the day. There's some discipline. Do you want the freedom from your emotions? You got to have discipline over your emotions. You know what I mean? So discipline is the beginning of freedom. Get it straight. You can waste the rest of the year and learn it yourself, or just go with it. Let me share you my experience and the experience of others. Discipline is the beginning of freedom. Okay. We all want growth. We want to grow our bank accounts. We want to grow our friendships, our relationships, our influence, our health. We want to grow these things. It's a process, not a single event. So here's more questions. These are the kinds of questions. Remember, the right questions lead to the right answers. So let's ask ourselves, do you know what you need to improve, and do you know how you need to improve it? Okay, if some of you need to improve your presenter skills, some of you are presenters, you're up in front of the room doing something, a follow-up, a house tour, a cash flow, an onboarding class, even at registration, you're still in a speaking environment, right? Maybe you open the meeting, maybe you close the meeting, maybe you're running something online. Whatever it is, do you know what you need to improve? Is probably your speaking skills. How are you going to improve it? You know how? Toastmasters, baby. I'm telling you. Jumping back into it again. It is so much fun. The people we're meeting, the conversations we're having after the meetings, the techniques we're learning from watching these speakers, this is making us better speakers. So that's one thing that comes to mind. Do you know what you need to improve, and do you know how? One other thing is, when looking at things to improve, let's say when you've asked those questions, what went well and what can go better next time. If you come up with 20 things you could do better next time, start with 2. Okay, start with 2. Don't try to do 20 changes all at once. It's not going to be fun. You won't remember it, and then you get a new list of 20 things you could do better next time. Start with 2, maybe 3. Start to knock some of those things out, and then do it again. Make sure they don't show up on the list. Now, can I do better next time? Start with that. Get a pace going. Start with the small stuff with improving. Too many people bite off more they can chew, and then they got to drop something. Then they feel embarrassed, and they drop some more because they're embarrassed, and they drop some more because they're embarrassed. And they just start with the small stuff. When it comes to that list, if you got a big list of things to change, okay? Still got 6 months. Now I'm saying we only got 6 months, and in the same breath I'm saying we still got 6 months. Okay? We only got 6 months, and we still got 6 months. Take a screenshot of this. Maybe you need to print this or send it to yourself or make it your background. I love this. Whoops, sorry, going back. The successful person has the habit of doing the thing that failures don't like to do. The successful person doesn't like to do them either, but his dislike is subordinated to the strength of his purpose. Let that sink in for a minute. The successful person doesn't like it either. It's still work. You still get up. You still work. You're still saying no to distractions. You're still, but the strength of your purpose, what you're working towards, is going to be more grand than the thing in the moment, the thing that's right in front of your face. So the successful person has the habit of doing the thing failures don't like to do. They're doing the thing, getting up and reading. Some people don't like to do that. They say, oh, well, I fall asleep every time I get up early and read. Well, do it anyway. Successful people don't like to do it either. It's just that their dislike is subordinated. Subordinated means lower on the scale to the strength of his purpose or her purpose. Her dislike is subordinated to the strength of her purpose. So do it anyway. You could sum up this whole quote. Do it anyway. Okay. Next couple questions. Do you know why you want to improve? So we asked, do you know what you want to improve? Do you know how you want to improve? Now, do you know why you want to improve? In talking about consistency, consistent. We just did our 36th Super Saturday in Denver. So we started our Super Saturdays in June of 2015, and we have never missed. And I've only lived in Denver for 90 days, 100 days. We moved in here at the end of March. So consistency, we never miss. Now, some of you just need to pick up on that habit, but it's something that if you've made the habit of quitting, oh, buddy, start with the small stuff. Don't try to take on 500 things, and just don't quit on 2 things. Don't quit on Super Saturdays, right? There's going to be 6 more. One of them might be a regional in your area, but there's going to be 6 more, whether they're online or in your area. Drive 2-3 hours. It's okay. Catch a flight to a Super Saturday. Catch a flight to a Super Saturday. Some of you have been missing Super Saturdays because you, quote unquote, live too far away. But there's guys, the guy Jonathan Mitchell, big shout out to that guy. He lives several hours away from the Denver office. In the last 2 weeks, or last month, he's come to Denver twice. Had to catch a flight to be here on time and to make it back home on time to take care of what else he needs to take care of. But he's still at the meeting with a great attitude. This is what I'm saying, guys. The consistent growth that you want to be someone that where a day flight, spur of the moment, doesn't dent your bank account. It doesn't dent your bank account in the slightest. You want to be that kind of person, right? Then you got to have that kind of discipline and not be afraid to do things like that and be committed to it. Sure, I don't take day trips for just whatever reason. At the beginning, it was only for this business. Now I look at my Apple TV, the screensaver comes up, and I say I want to go there, and we go there. That's a different story. But at the beginning, those trips, yes, it's easy to justify $200, $300, $400, $500 to get to one of these trainings sometimes. You don't skip. If you're not making the kind of money you want to make, don't skip this stuff. So here's something to think about. Goal consciousness versus growth consciousness. Okay? Goal consciousness is still event-driven, where growth consciousness understands the process of unfolding. Okay? Seasonal versus lifelong. Motivates versus matures. Destination versus journey. Learns before mistakes versus learns from mistakes. Depends on hard work. Depends on good luck. So take a screenshot of this. Goal consciousness versus growth consciousness. Okay. Keeps going beyond the goal or stops when the goal is reached. See, that's sometimes some of you guys' problems. Your goal was get 5-star. Now you stopped once your goal was reached. You made that your burning desire, your midnight dream was to become 5-star. And then, woohoo! You did it. But you stopped because you reached your goal. That's goal consciousness versus growth consciousness. Take that responsibility, grow, expand. Growth consciousness is something that, like you do the reflection, like we were just talking about, the law of reflection. Learn before your mistakes. If you reflect, do you think people who reflect learn from their mistakes and then learn before they make mistakes because they can sense patterns? They can see trends. There's certain signs that come up. If you want to only learn from mistakes or you want to learn before your mistakes, be sure you are reflecting. So we were talking yesterday with a group of IMAs that we need to be looking at people the right way. We've been trained to judge quickly. It's unfortunate because judgment creates barriers. We're trying to include people in our business, yet subconsciously we're still judging and creating exclusivity and barriers. So this is what we talked about yesterday, was potential. If we look at people as untapped potential, then we'll see them correctly. Right? They have fears, they have goals, and they have untapped potential. So you have untapped potential. That's why we meet you every morning. That's why everyone at corporate is working their butts off, because they know about your untapped potential, my untapped potential, and they're giving us more things to tap into that potential. So when you're looking and prospecting and calling people and contacting, and you're going to barbecues and shows and things today, look at people as untapped potential, not as who they are, what they drive, what they're wearing, right? Their short-sighted understanding of economics. Don't look at them as that. Look at them as their untapped potential, and you'll invite them in a more genuine way to look at what you're doing. Okay, untapped potential. This is a discipline in your mind. When you're looking at people, you want to be more attractive, they'll be like, I don't know what I like about you, right? Because maybe you never say, hey, you have untapped potential that I recognize. You don't have to say it. You can just think it all the time. This is who you are, and you'll attract people subconsciously. They'll just want to be around you. And then you just do the other part of the sales process, which is ask for the order, build for the event, add value, ask questions, overcome objections, get the frickin' credit card number, get it in the system. That's the only way we can serve them, is if they get in. They can stand on the sidelines, or they can get in, right? So do the sales part also. That's the service part, sales part. Sales equals service. Be disciplined with asking for that order. Okay, if you develop the habits of success, you'll make success a habit. This is one fun thing about English, is you can twist them around to make truths that are easy to remember. You develop the habits of success, you'll make success a habit. So it's steps. Success is steps. Success isn't an address or a name or a birth date, right? It's just habits. So take a screenshot of this, send it to your prospects. Send different. This is what I'm going to wrap with, guys. When you're contacting your prospects, if they're not responding to words, send them pictures. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? And when it comes from you in different times you have no idea what they're dealing with, but you might be impacted by a quote. Send it to them, and it might be a light bulb for them because of something they're dealing with. Now they look at you as a value adder, a value creator. Someone who's not just ranting at them, but you're thinking about them in a different capacity. So show them you're thinking about them, send them pictures, send them gratitude stuff, stay in touch with them, and they'll want to buy. You only need 10 sales for $100,000. You help those 10 get certified, that's another $190,000. Let's get it going, guys. Stay focused. Happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day. Express that independence. Invite people like crazy to look at what you're doing. And we will pick up on the next law of the environment, on our next video. All right, guys, go reflect. Go look at your calendars. Go back, check on what you're doing. Ask those important questions of yourself. Be an example. You want to create six-figure people on your team? Be a six-figure earner and do those things. Okay, have a great day, guys. Talk to you soon.